And during today's news, we covered there was a lot of developments that would affect the price of our goods and services. So, welcome to the room. Please invite your friends. Tonight is going to be a good lesson. We are discussing hyperinflation.
And as Brother Corey says, ping as many as people as you can to the room.
Yep.
Get them all in here and buckle up. Brother Leo got some good information for you.
All praises. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All greetings to the brethren and sisters. Welcome to tonight's lesson of Jacob's Trouble. Tonight, we'll be discussing hyperinflation and the coming famine. If you were in Brother Dominique's class earlier, he did a lesson on enduring, and it was a very good lesson. And so it kind of goes right into what we're discussing in the Jacob's Trouble series in terms of preparation. We do have an emphasis on the spiritual preparation because that's what's gonna bring us through. I mean, our food and guns and whatever else people want to stock up on is not going to save you. Those are just to assist. So let's go ahead and get started. Tonight we'll be discussing hyperinflation, which is, to my understanding, the black horseman in Revelations chapter 6. So hyperinflation is a term used to describe rapid, excessive, and out of control prices in the economy, which is typically about 50% increase per month. Now, with hyperinflation, with this lesson, we're going to discuss what it is, what does the Bible say about hyperinflation, some examples of hyperinflation throughout history and today, and how we should prepare ourselves in this time. So, first precept is Revelations chapter 6, verse 5 through 6. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou not hurt the oil and the wine." Okay, let's read this in the New Living Translation. I'm going to read verse 6 in the New Living Translation. And I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings saying, "A loaf of wheat or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the oil, and don't waste the olive oil and the wine." Okay, so in the way that we would understand that is one loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. So let's bring that into our terms. So currently, unfortunately, minimum wage is generally in most places by law. My understanding is $7.25. So $7.25 for a full day is 8 hours. That's $58. So 1 wheat of bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost $58. That's hyperinflation. Now, an example, I have some family living in Brazil, and last month, or the time that we had this talk, groceries cost them $300 last month. And this month, it costed them about $500. So that is a 67% increase over a month. And now remember, hyperinflation is 50% per month, and that is over, that's well over 50%. That's the extra 17%. Now, what they tell people in Brazil is, "Oh, don't worry, this is temporary. This'll pass. After the pandemic starts to die down," which in Brazil is getting a lot worse. But they tell them, "Oh, it's just temporary," which every country will tell their citizens it's only temporary. Now, We're gonna see I'm gonna play a short video of how on hyperinflation, and after that, I'll experience how the U.S. is experiencing hyperinflation and what causes hyperinflation. So let's just take a listen.
In Germany in 1923, people were doing strange things, like using money to wallpaper their houses and burning money for heat. What was going on? Had they all gone crazy? Nope. In the early 1920s, Germany was in the grip of something called hyperinflation. In order to pay massive reparations to the Allies after World War I, Germany printed a lot of their currency, the mark. One result of all this additional money was higher and higher prices. By November 1923, it took 1 trillion marks to buy $1 US. There were 1,000 billion mark notes in circulation. The mark was effectively meaningless. A similar situation developed in Zimbabwe a few years ago. Starting in 2007, inflation grew rapidly, like really rapidly. By September 2008, the International Monetary Fund estimated the annual inflation rate at 489 billion%. In practical terms, the Zimbabwean dollar lost 99.9% of its value between 2007 and 2008. It's hard to even imagine what that looks like. Prices nearly doubled every 24 hours, and businesses revised prices several times a day. In June 2008, the Economic Times reported that a loaf of bread now costs what 12 new cars did a decade ago. The government issued currency in huge denominations to keep up with rising prices. The $1 million bill, the $1 billion bill, and finally in 2009, the $100 trillion bill, the largest denomination of currency ever issued. The good news was that everyone was a billionaire. But the bad news was that those dollars were virtually worthless. One definition of hyperinflation is when a country experiences a monthly inflation rate of over 50%, or around 13,000% annual inflation. But believe it or not, Zimbabwe's recent inflation isn't unique, and it's not the worst inflation in history. In fact, the worst was in Hungary in 1946. Between July 1945 and August 1946, the price level in Hungary rose by a factor of 3 times 10 to the 25th. And yes, anytime you have to express your inflation rate using scientific notation, that's a bad thing. Besides the obvious...
Okay, so that gives us a brief history of hyperinflation. You see it in Weimar, Germany. We've seen it in Zimbabwe, seen it in Hungary, and more recently, it's been in Venezuela really bad. So we're going to get to that shortly. But so how does this affect us? And well, a more recent example is in Venezuela, as I said earlier. So now with Venezuela, we're going to go ahead and cover Venezuela because this has been going on since 2016 when I first started telling people about, when I first came into the truth, I started, warning people about Jacob's trouble. And this was, one of the topics that I was telling people about. Let's take a listen.
Inflation. I think it is more of the same. Effectively, what we are doing is putting more money on the streets, attracting more inflation. The economic situation, that is getting worse, and it will not change. More notes on the streets means more inflation, depreciation in the currency, and nothing else. The 100 Bolivar note will now remain legal tender until February 20, while the International Monetary Fund is forecasting inflation to hit over 1,600% this year, and few analysts believe the Bolivar will increase in value anytime soon. Virginia Langerberg, BBC News.
Bread, medicine, toilet paper. These are just some of the basic necessities Venezuelans are struggling to find. The falling global oil prices have hit the country hard. Public services are disappearing one after the other. American officials are warning the country is on the brink of collapse.
Venezuela is in a state of emergency right now. Its currency has been devalued 92% since the last 2 years alone.
The amount of hyperinflation here is actually just unbelievable. You need a backpack full of money to buy a dinner.
Well, in Caracas, the capital city, we have a very tough time accessing basic necessities, but the people in the interior of the country, in the states, in the province, have it even worse. And we're not just talking about medicine. We're not just talking about basic things such as toilet paper. We're talking about food. And that's where the situation escalates.
Lines down the block for just basic necessities, line down the blocks for public transportation that is insufficient, and then a lot of people talk about the toilet paper with the government setting up a set price so poor people could afford toilet paper.
Even in the driving rain, Venezuelans started their day in search of food, expecting to see the usual grim queues that form at government stores. Not today. The only stores with affordable food are shut, closed for the National Workers' Holiday, the sign explains. It says sorry and thank you. People walked away empty-handed, but full of dread, wondering where their next meal might come from. And here's the thing. These people aren't allowed to come back tomorrow. Food is rationed here, doled out according to the last number on your government ID. Carlos Chirinos explains his turn is today. His number is 5.
Cinco. Hoy me toca a mí.
Cinco.
Hoy y el miércoles.
So he's saying that just today and Wednesday can he buy things, and because it's closed today, he's out of luck.
The things that we have experienced, the things that we have seen here in Venezuela are absolutely insane.
We went to some of the restaurants, and all the prices on the menu are in paper, and they taped onto the menu because they have to change it every week, and sometimes even more than that. It's changing that fast. It's really it's interesting. And you brought up the gun-free zones. That's the most interesting part to me. Is no one is allowed to have a gun, and this is the murder capital of the world. So we walk into the hotel at night because we're a little crazy. We're told by everyone, "Don't go out," and we went out. There was no one anywhere. It was like a ghost town. And when we get back, the security guard is hiding behind a door because he doesn't have a gun, and the bad people all have guns.
The situation in Venezuela is dire, and it is dire in many different ways, socially, politically, as well as economically.
Yama is a mother on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
That's the result of 5 days without water. This is how we live now as Venezuelans. We've lost our quality of life. As you can see, we were middle-class people, and now we're not even that anymore. Just look at the kitchen. This is how we live now that we have no water. Now it's just arrived, so I've started the washing machine, and I'm filling buckets so that I can cook.
Water and electricity are both being rationed. Everyone is feeling the pinch.
Until last year, working 4 jobs, I earned about $300 a month. This year, working the same 4 jobs, I only make $100, and this will keep diminishing as our currency devalues.
Okay. So that recording, all those clips were from 2016, and this is 2021, and nothing has gotten better. So just a little sidebar: when people talk about Venezuela, they blame socialism, but no, Venezuela's been experiencing, which there are some of our people are there too. The children of Israel are in Venezuela. So essentially, what happened was the U.S. wanted Venezuelan oil, and Maduro said hell no, and then the U.S. start putting sanctions on Venezuela. Now, we talked about sanctions a lot with Russia and China. Venezuela's economy and infrastructure and exports are a lot less weaker, I'll say weaker than Russia and China. So when they did sanctions on Venezuela, they froze a lot of their bank accounts. So now just imagine your household, you're in you're paying your bills, you're doing everything, and then your bank just freezes your account. And not only they freeze your account, they tell every other bank, if you do business with, let me use Mike. If you do business with Mike, we're gonna not do business with you. So that is part of the reason why Venezuela has experienced hyperinflation, because all of their bank accounts have been frozen by the U.S. Now, it's getting a little bit better because Russia and China stepped in. So Russia, they do have warplanes in Venezuela. That was about 2018, I believe. And China is giving more consumer products to Venezuela. They've had about $10 billion worth of gold in the Bank of England, and the Bank of England confiscated it. And it's been in a long court battle, and they're just now getting the legal right to get their gold back. So again, it's not because of socialism. It has nothing to do with socialism. There are many socialist countries that are first world. Venezuela got in the crosshairs of the U.S. and got their bank accounts frozen. So that is why they're experiencing hyperinflation. Because you got to pay your bill. You can't pay your bills. I mean, so trying to get products in, trying to get everyone else is scared to piss off the U.S. So they don't want to do business with you. So that cuts off your supply. So it kind of like what we talked about in today's news about the port of Oakland having all those cargo ships out to sea, and it's causing supply constraints. So just imagine everyone's trying to go into Venezuela port, and then they get a notice saying if you enter that port, the U.S. is not going to do business with you. So they just turn around and leave, or they wait there until things get settled. So that was in 2016, and as supply in the country dwindles, you have situations like this where the price of products, whatever's left on the shelf, is 1,600% increase over from last year. Now, with that, you've had it was so bad. Just from what I was studying about Venezuela, it was so bad that people started breaking into the zoos and steal the animals to just to eat. So, I mean, that's how bad it was. So again, no country is immune from hyperinflation. But that's one of the reasons why you see China and Russia starting to break away from the U.S. in terms of we're not so much dependent on you anymore. We have our own infrastructure. China controls manufacturing. Russia has military weapons, and they work together. And then they work together with the smaller countries to separate themselves from independence of the U.S. Because sanctions can happen anytime, but to the extent to where you are not producing a lot of your own products, it can hurt you to this extent. Now, you say, okay, well, how do we in the U.S. Get hyperinflation? Okay, so I read an article a couple of weeks ago. Now, the U.S. is after the '08 crash. When they say the bubble bursted, well, they had to reinflate the bubbles. Now, when they reinflate the bubbles, what they do is they print more money. And so, as you saw in the video about Weimar Germany, they just kept printing more money to pay reparations to the other countries, which it's crazy because other countries get reparations, but we still haven't got ours. But anyway, so the U.S. just kept printing more money. Now, what they did with that money they were printing, they started buying up government bonds, mortgages, and stocks. So when you start seeing the stock market go back up after '08, then people are thinking like, oh, the economy is back. No. That was the Federal Reserve buying more stocks, buying a lot of mortgages, and buying government bonds. Now, when they started this program, of course they sold it as it's only temporary. We're not going to do this forever, because if you keep printing money, eventually you're going to have hyperinflation because this money's backed by nothing. You put a lot of money into circulation, and that raises the prices. So they started at $85 billion a month for about 4 years, and then they slowed it down to $60 billion a month, and then $40 billion a month, and then they stopped for a couple of years. Now, with that, they said now because of the pandemic, they started all back up again. Now they're not doing $80 billion a month. They've been doing I would say before the pandemic. Now they were lying before. They said they're not doing it, but they actually were. Which was causing the stock market to rise. Now, when you after the pandemic, they came out in front and said, "Yeah, we're going to do the program again because the economy needs help." So what they started doing again, started buying more stocks. So now, from $80 billion a month in 2010, till now 2021, they've announced that they're printing 120 billion per month into the economy, air quotes, and they just been pumping up the stock market. Now, so the problem with money printing. So just imagine you have a dollar bill and you print it on the machine. Now, don't actually do this because it's illegal and you can go to jail if you just print some money. Your real dollar is illegal. So you take a dollar bill and you run it through a printer, and then you take that copy and then you make another copy of that copy, and you make another copy of that copy, and so forth and so on. Now, every time you do that, the quality gets a little bit diminished. Now, imagine you're doing that 120 billion times per month, and imagine the quality, the value of that dollar that's been replicated. So, the U.S. dollar is pretty much I mean, it's dead in the water. Now, so how are we experiencing hyperinflation? Well, the good thing, well, I guess the thing about being control of the money supply is at this point, they hit an iceberg in 2008, and then they hit another iceberg with this pandemic. So it's just been exposing a lot of the financial problems. Now, when you hit an iceberg, the thing with the Federal Reserve, they were able to control where that water goes, that inflation. So they were able to control it in the stock market. Now, after a while, then it goes into housing, and then after a while, you try to make it towards Bitcoin. So they're trying to control where this water goes, but eventually, as you can see, as some of us, we all can see, it's starting to go into mainstream. Mainstream being, your gas prices and your food prices. Okay, so eventually, with the port of Oakland and those ports having a lot of cargo out to sea waiting to dock, air quotes, translation, the U.S., no one wants this devalued dollar anymore, is putting, strain on supply. And so that also goes with the gas prices because, as we talked about earlier in the news this morning, how Russia and, OPEC, when you see OPEC plus, that plus is Russia. Now that they squeezed out a lot of the American oil and gas companies, they started to raise the oil price again. So OPEC really controls the oil price. So, now that they squeezed out the competition, now they're going to raise the oil price. China is the largest importer of oil. So while oil prices were low, they were filling up their refineries. So again, constraint of supply plus you're printing money into oblivion is going to be the worst hyperinflation in history. This is going to be worse than Venezuela. It's going to be worse than Weimar Germany. It's going to be worse than Zimbabwe. Now, what those countries were doing, they were just printing money. Venezuela got their bank accounts frozen. The U.S. is printing money and supply is being dwindled. So, when this comes, it's going to be, a laughing stock. So when people talk about, when they talk about investing in the stock market, yes, the stock market is going to go up. Bitcoin is going to go to $1 billion a coin. But guess what? As we discussed in the first part of this this lesson was a loaf of bread is going to be $58. So, at some point, and the thing is, if you try to cash out that $1 billion Bitcoin, you might have some problems. I'm sure, whoever is, needing to pay that money are going to have technical difficulties, and you're probably not going to get your money. So, let's go over a few scriptures to show hyperinflation. Now, hyperinflation is a close relative to famine. So let's see these two in scriptures. This is Genesis chapter 14, this is Genesis chapter 47. Start at verse 14. Now, can one of you brothers get 2nd Ezra 16:67? And I'll get that. And then another one, get Ecclesiastes 8 and 5. I'm going to go ahead and read Genesis. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 47, verse 14. And there was no bread in the land, in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Verse 15 is key. When the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money fails." And Joseph said, "Give me your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if the money fails." And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses and for the flocks and for the cattle of the herds and for their asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that 1 year. Okay, so let's stop right there. So you see right here in biblical times, there's a point when the money fails. The famine is so great that, hey, this money, supply is scarce, and as supply, in terms of pricing, you have supply and demand. So as supply dwindles, demand is going to go up, therefore the price is going to go up. So in a case of hyperinflation, the money fails. Like, this money's worthless. Like, it has no value in this land. So Joseph took things that did have value: horses, flocks, cattle, herds, sheep. And that just fed them for that 1 year. Okay. So as you see, hyperinflation and famine are very closely related and very connected. Now, let's see what happens the next year. This is verse 18. When that year was ended, they came unto him the second year and said unto him, "We will not hide it from my Lord, that our money is spent. My Lord has also our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, but our bodies and our land." Now, this is very key. When the famine comes, people are going to people are going to give away their bodies for a can of beans and bottled water. It's just, we're just being real. And it's going to get so bad that people are not even going to give away their bodies. Other people are going to try to take their bodies. But here you see, people are so hungry. Hey, we're going to sell ourselves and whatever land we own to the Egyptian government. Now, verse 19. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph brought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh and for the Egyptian. For the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevaileth over them. So the land became Pharaoh's. Now, that's how bad famine is, got in Egypt. Now, when the Bible speaks of Jacob's trouble, it says it's going to be a time like never before. So if, you take whatever Mad Max movie apocalyptic scenario out there, and it's not even going to be compared to what we'll actually go through. Now, us as the children of Israel, the hopeful elect, we have nothing to worry about. We got plenty of precepts that we're going to bring out to, give you comfort in that. But this is just giving us a visual of hyperinflation in Scripture coupled with famine. Now, with that, so we see, so we went over what hyperinflation is, examples of hyperinflation in history, and examples of hyperinflation in the Bible, which closely follows famine. Now, everything we learned so far, so with everything we learned so far, how do we stay ahead of hyperinflation and prepare for the coming collapse during Jacob's trouble? Again, I'm saying this and I'll say this again, and I'm going to keep saying it until the cows come home. You need to make sure you're grounded and secure in the Lord God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. You've got to get grounded. So can I get 2 Ezra 16:67?
This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16 and 67. Behold, Yahweh himself is the judge. Fear him.
Mm-hmm.
Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall Yahweh lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble.
Con. Now, with that, there's some those are instructions we have to do. So, when you talk about, when people talk about faith, this is where your faith is going to come in. And, based on what Brother Dominique's lesson was today on endurance, this is part of the endurance. So, first thing you have to do is the Most High God is the judge. You fear him. You don't fear the famine. You don't fear hyperinflation. You don't fear Esau. You don't fear FEMA. You fear him. That's the first thing. Second, leave off from your sins. 3, forget your iniquities. Forget them. To meddle no more with them forever. So don't even dabble with, whatever sin, or whatever stronghold or addiction you were delivered from. Do not even meddle with it. Like, don't even play with it forever. Then so shall God, the Most High God, lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. Now, there's some things that, people, when people, there's like a conflict of scriptures. Wait a minute, we got to go through Jacob's trouble, but then we're saved out of it. But then, talks about, famine and, consenting unto them, like explain all this. Okay. So the best way to harmonize all these scriptures that you've read and studied through in Jacob's trouble, in your own study time, or, just uh, meditating and, watching videos and things like that, is, okay, Noah was saved from the flood. Okay. The Most High God did not snatch him in the sky and let the flood pass. No, he built an ark by the specific instructions from the Most High God. And while that ark that the Most High God told him to build sustained him by the power of the Most High God. Okay. Another example would be the Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael in the fiery furnace. They went through the fiery furnace, but the Lord God delivered them from that trouble. Daniel in the lion's den. Okay. So going to, being refined, this is where the rapture doctrine is, the rapture before the tribulation in the Christian church is so damnable, because they're going to ignore all this. They don't care about hyperinflation. They don't care about, the vaccine. They don't care about anything, because when it's time for Jacob's trouble or the great tribulation, they believe the Lord's going to snatch them up into the sky and, save them, and they don't have to deal with any of this. Now, is there anything you guys wanted to add? Okay.
Only did you bring out Second Esdras 16 and 21? Or you had
No,
that
you
later?
got it.
Time. This is Second Esdras 16 and 21. It says, "Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Salakia, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape hunger shall the sword destroy." So just in let me backing off what the brother said. As anybody pull a fresh, they could see my avatar, showing the passports that, is being prepared. And, it's a lot of these things that's going to affect us, that goes into this time, and as you see the time we're in, there's a lot of stimulus out there, a lot of loans, these, people think that they're in good shape in this time. But even now, brother Leo is telling you to prepare for this time that's coming, because it's going to be a time where, what I'm saying, like, a loaf of bread is going to be like, $50, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to It's going to be those times that your dollars is not worth anything. It's going to be times when you're not able to use dollars. It's going to be, time that honestly, you're going to have to be a bartering system. People are going to be selling their bodies. People are going to have their loved ones taken, and ransomed off for certain things, for certain goods. These are the times that we're moving towards. So I yield on that.
Con. And yeah, so when one thing when he said the goods shall be so goodly cheap upon the earth, that reminded me of everyone's going crazy over doggy coin, and as we covered this morning, 100 people control I think 98% of the market price. So that those 100 people are a lot of people are going to be caught trying to get rich off of doggy coin instead of they should be uh, doing what Joseph did and store food. So again, I don't, that's just, that's just a little bit of advice. It may go up. I mean, again, you're talking about hyperinflation. So as that's going up, yes, everything else is going up with it. So, just be aware. Now, know that hyperinflation, the black horseman, when you're talking about when the Most High talks about, famine and destruction and sword, those were created by the Most High. They take their orders from the Most High to bring judgment to the wicked and to purge and refine and chastise the righteous. Now, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, the famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the earth, and their hurtful works are filled. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things, in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Amen. Verse 9. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Now, another precept, Mike or King Bender, you have Ecclesiastes 8 and 5?
Con.
Con-
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
All right. Ecclesiastes 8 and 5. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. Did you want? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's it. That's good. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. Okay. Now we know this is talking about, us, the hopeful elect. This is not talking about the Christian church. This is not talking about, because they think the commandments are done away with. So whosoever keeps the commandment shall feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. So, you got a lot of our people out there frolicking, thinking racism is dead and, all this other stuff. But the wise can discern time and judgment, looking at the world events, looking at, local events, the hour is late. Okay. So, and one thing, can I get Proverbs 6 and 6 and then Proverbs 22 and 3? Now, during this time, you have to, like, again, you have to be grounded and secure in the Most High. I mean, we're going to get to some things you can do in the natural, but again, I mean, if you're not keeping the commandments and you don't have faith that He's going to protect you, there's your food supply is not going to save you. It's just not. Now, this is as they're getting Proverbs. I want to read this one. This is Psalms 37, 18 and 19. The Lord knows the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. Okay? So, again, these are more precepts for you to rest in that assurance that the Most High God is going to do what He says He's going to do. Now, He's obligated to do what His word says. Okay, You guys have Proverbs 6 and 6.
Con. Con. This is book of Proverbs, chapter 6, and verse 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise.
Stop right there. Look at the ant and see how she operates. Go on.
Con. Which having no guide, overseer, or ruler,
Mm-hmm.
provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest.
Stop right there. So no one is telling the ant when to go to work. No one's telling the ant when to store food, how much to store it. That's all the ant does. They find food, they store it. They find food, they store it. They find food and they store it. Now, and considering, because the ant knows winter is coming, that's why it says verse 6, and be wise. Verse 9. Now, let's look at the comparison. Verse 9.
Con. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep?
How long you gonna be playing around, Jake? How long you gonna be messing around, Eve? When are you gonna wake out of that sleep? Go ahead.
Con. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall they so shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man.
Yeah, so you're sitting back thinking everything's a game. You got time. Nothing's going to happen. I've been hearing this for 20, 30 years. My daddy was talking about this. My granny at the church was talking about this. I'm going to go ahead and relax and, do me. And what this says, poverty is going to come on you as one travaileth, and lack as an armed man. So you're walking down the street and you don't see the armed man. They come out of nowhere, you know, or you're at the ATM. You're not paying attention. So it's the same way that this famine is going to hit a lot of people because Brother King Ben read earlier in 2nd Ezra 16 that people are going to think to be in good case. Like, things are not, they're not great, but they're not bad either. You know, um, Another example about doggy coin. This is just a mess. There's a Bentley dealership and a Bugatti dealership here in Houston that are now accepting doggy coin as payment. So this is how insane these things have gotten. So as everyone has just lost it in terms of financial markets, poverty and lack is going to just pop up. But for those who see the ant, they know winter's coming. It comes every year. So for us, we the Most High has opened our eyes and gave us teachers and watchmen to let us know, hey, you don't have as much time as you think you know, as you think you do. Okay. So can I get Proverbs 22 and 3?
Con. Proverbs 22 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but
Mm-hmm.
the simple pass on and are punished.
The prudent man sees the evil coming and gets out the way. But the simple says, yeah, whatever. And then they get punished. Okay, so you see a lot of scriptures and a history. You see Joseph. The Most High God gave him, gave Pharaoh the dream, someone in position, and Joseph the gift to interpret it. So, and Joseph during that time was like the ant. For 7 years, they gathered corn. Okay, and they built storehouses. Okay, so, they had a plan in place for what was coming. So the prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself. He gets out the way. So, there are a million and one precepts that we could go over to secure your faith and, things about being wise. Like, just please heed the warnings. Like in my head, I just see red flashing lights. Like, it's like we don't have much time left. Just based on what everything, like, if this was just merely financial, and Russia and China weren't doing what they were doing, and Iran and Israel weren't doing what they were doing, and the U.S. was fairly calm, I'd be like, it's probably going to pass. But everything is, flashing red. So now this is why. Now the way to stay ahead of hyperinflation, just some practical examples, is this is why you want to start, your food supply. Start stocking your food supplies, hygiene products, water supply, and start buying them in bulk. You may get a better price. I know I've said that before, but I was doing some price matching, and I've got to do some more research. But as of now, I don't think it's that much valuable to get a Sam's or Costco's. If you already have one, great, use it. If you're thinking about getting one, it will be worth it if you were going to split it with someone, someone in your household or one of your friends, so you can buy in bulk. Now, again, in the natural, stocking your food will help you stay ahead of inflation. Now, which is, again, we discussed, is slowly starting to creep up in food and gas prices. So, you want to stock up on your hygiene and sundry products, bars of soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, toilet paper, deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, feminine products. You want to make sure you stock up on those. Now, again, Brother Ben on his YouTube channel has the other lessons that I go into great detail about, food storage, your bug out bags, how to do your water supply, skills, everything you need in natural. Now, and within those videos, we're not only dealing with the natural, we also deal with a lot of spiritual things as well, in terms of combating fear, casting down those imaginations, things like that. So it's just this one, we just wanted to cover hyperinflation, because to give you like, I guess like a, not a roadmap, but just like a preview of just warning signs. So, you can see, hyperinflation coming. So again, the restriction of supply, plus the money printing that's going out of control, which is 120 billion a month. Now, now you've heard terms like universal basic income, which is basically just give people money so they can shut up and not riot. So the old Roman Empire had a saying called bread and circus. So you give the people enough bread and enough entertainment, and they'll never revolt. Okay. So when you hear these, another stimulus package, um, PPP loans, things like that, um, unemployment insurance, that's just universal basic income. That's the bread. And, the circus, that's our entertainment. So as long as people are entertained, they're distracted from the warning signs, and, they are folding their hands to sleep and take a little nap while all hell is, really about to fall down on this place. So now, for those who are or did get stimulus checks, please use it wisely. Um, Other first world countries, they're giving their citizens a monthly stimulus check. They get theirs per month, of about $2,000 on average. Now, this country only gives it out every so often, so no telling when we may get another one, if we may get another one. I would assume they're going to keep these stimulus packages going. The last one passed for 1.9 trillion. Now, that's on top of the $120 billion a month the Fed is printing. So again, with the country $23 trillion in debt, this is why I say hyperinflation will be the worst ever in the US, because all those countries we talked about, they didn't have anywhere near 21 to $23 trillion in debt, which I think the debt is a lot higher than that. They're just hiding the numbers to make it not seem as bad. So with that, just I can't emphasize this enough. Please be wise with, the resources that the Most High God is giving you. while having faith in the Most High. Stay grounded. Um, do not fear. Like, you cannot let fear consume you, because at this point, they know the scriptures. Esau, he knows these scriptures. The only way that we can get out of line is, outside of sinning, is with fear. So, the people who are afraid and have weak hands, that's in Sirach, they will not be offended. So, they will not be defended. So, with that, well, let me bring that out real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 12. Woe, well, this is a good one. Let me go ahead and start at verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever trust in the Lord and was confounded? Did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering and very pitiful, and forgives sins, and saves in the time of affliction. Woe be to the fearful hearts and the faint hands, and the sinner that goes two ways. Woe unto him that is faint hearted, for he believes not. Therefore shall he not be defended. Okay? So there you go. I mean, all they have is fear. That's their only weapon, is fear, according to the scriptures. We're going to have some difficult times, hence Jacob's trouble, but we will be saved out of it. Now, hyperinflation is just one aspect of Jacob's trouble that's going to bring on the famine. So, or be, more warning signs that the famine is near. Because again, if you have short supply, prices are going to go up. And if companies are losing money, they're going to raise the prices. Therefore, you have higher prices. Russia and the Middle East are starting to piss off the U.S. by squeezing out the local mid-size oil and gas companies. So now they're raising up the prices after everyone has been filing for bankruptcy. You're going to have higher gases at the pump. So it's just a lesson, or a view of how hyperinflation works based on the scriptures and the examples we gave throughout history. Staying ahead of it. Now, another thing, I almost forgot this. More warning signs that the famine is coming. A lot of those food banks, we talked about utilizing the food banks. I would still utilize that. That would help supplement your food bill if you are struggling. Just go to Google, type in food bank, and type in your zip code, and you'll see some food banks in your area. Now, the food bank by my house, I don't know if they do it once a week or every day, but I drive by there. The past 2 Fridays that I drove by there, they had a line about 3 to 4 miles long at this church, where people are just, driving in, getting a box of whatever, probably like pasta, spaghetti sauce and things like that. And, they're driving off. So that line by my house is long every time I drive by there. I think they get theirs daily. I think that church gets their supply daily or weekly. And so whenever they have it, the line is already around the corner. And it's people just waiting in their cars to get food. So, we've seen the food lines. That hasn't gotten better. So just because the news is not talking about it doesn't mean it's not going on. Okay. So don't get trapped into that false sense of security by thinking, oh yeah, they were talking about the food, food lines and food shortages, but now they're not talking about it anymore. So I guess everything is fine. No, not necessarily. Well, things aren't fine. They're getting worse. But if you want to look up food banks in your area to try to supplement, your food bill if you're having trouble, I would definitely highly recommend that. But just a food bank in my area, again, it's wrapped around the corner, so you're going to see. It's only going to get worse as the times get closer to Jacob's trouble. So with that, I'll yield and I'll pass it to King Ben or Mike if they have any questions. I mean, not questions, but if they have any precepts. If you guys have any questions.
Kai, I just got two real quick. Just in relation to the time, because we don't have a lot of time, and even though it may seem, that uh things are looking up, man. A lot of even today, you know, brother Corey, when we was in the other room, he brought out as that verdict today was a reason to pacify our people. You know what I'm saying? So, as our, they trying to get these vaccines out, get our people inoculated and things like that. You know, um, they want to do things to pacify us, pass these little stimulus bills, have our people, barbecuing, partying, drinking. In the times of Noah, people was drinking, giving themselves to marriage. So they want us to be, caught up in the lights of things, but you know, we don't have time. You know what I'm saying? We don't have time to get, to be playing around. We have to get ourselves ready. As the stuff that we're trying to do in this clubhouse, we're trying to prepare ourselves for what's coming. We're trying to get our people in order. So, just in the time that we do not have, in reference, this is Sirach chapter 5 and 7. It says, "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off the day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance." So, in thy security, what is your security? Your security is where you are feeling you're most comfortable at. In your security, like in your bed. You know what I'm saying? That's your security. In your house, in your car, in the things you enjoy the most. In your security is something that you feel safe in. You understand? And these things will come on you, as the Most High related as a woman giving birth in the book of Second Esdras. Let me get that real quick. uh that's This is a book of Second Esdras 16 and 37, right? And it says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son. With 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment." Right? So, you know, it's going to hit us like a brick. When these things come on, just like the pandemic hit, and people was like on lockdown. It was locking down cities. You know what I'm saying? It was stores that was shut down in your neighborhood and things like that. The Most High gives us a lot of times a preview of things to come, and we look past it. So these messages are not to just something to fill up the time on Clubhouse. These are something to prepare our people for, because these times are returning. We can never say in history throughout the Bible that the Most High didn't prepare his people. He sent prophets, he sent men, he had scriptures for us to be warned. And many of us didn't heed the warning. It was a lot of us that didn't heed the warning, and they was the examples that we read about, right? We also read about the examples of those that did heed the warning, and they lived to be able to pass the message along, right? The ones that became the example, that died, they was what the ones that lived wrote about. And that's what we're reading right now. So this is the time to get yourself prepared. These are your time to look these things up. We report on the news every single day. And we bring these things out that is happening around the world. These things that as relate to prophecy are coming to fruition. You understand? So these are things that our people need to not tarry, not to take lightly. With all these things happening, a lot of them is just for distraction, but is being made clear daily and daily. What will happen when, you know what I'm saying, milk is $60. You know what I'm saying? And you there with your child, and it's like, five dudes that's standing there, and it's the last milk. What are you gonna do in those times? They're liable to take whatever money you have and the milk. You know, for anybody that's seen the movie, it was the movie. Damn, what was the movie? It was the movie with I think it was uh um it was the movie when that if you could refresh my memory, Leonardo, with uh the dude that was in Jason Bourne movie. He was in that it was like a contamination movie. The bat contaminated, and he was in the store. You remember that one with
Oh,
his
Contagion.
daughter? Contagion. That movie, when they was in the store trying to get a can, I think it was a can of soup or something. You know what I'm saying? All hell broke loose. So, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be in those times where people are just going crazy. You know what I'm saying? People out. I remember we had a blackout in New York City. It was a while back when, I think it was most of the like East Coast and some of Detroit was out. I talked about it before. They were selling a bag of ice in New York for $20. You know what I'm saying? It was wild. It was just a night. It was only out for a couple of days, but it was just that bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's people. You know how people act, man. So this is time to prepare yourself. These little stimulus checks, they come and they go, but you gotta be wise in this time. That's why these little lessons are so important. People might not even you heard passing what hyperinflation is, but as it relates to famine, the famine is coming back, and us is we have to be circumspect in this time to prepare for these things. I yield.
Con. And someone asked me, I went to this scripture, and then the conversation just got worse. Someone asked me, well, to stay since the paper currency is going back to its original value, zero, should I buy silver and gold? And I took them to this precept. Um, this is, I think it's in Ezekiel. Oh no, here it goes. This is Zephaniah. So this is Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 18. Salakia. Chapter 1, verse 18. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured. By the fire of his jealousy, he shall make even a speedy riddance of them all that dwell in the land. Okay. So no, silver and gold is not going to save you. Now, the reason why I said this was annoying is because I was having this conversation with one of my friends, and he was asking, about Jacob's trouble and hyperinflation, and everything I told you, I told him. And one second. Gold. This was he said. I asked him about what are your plans? This and that. We discussed it. And so he asked about silver and gold, and I read him that scripture. And then we went to this one as well. We were looking it up, and this is Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19. They will throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will be like refuse, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity. So, no, it's not going to do you any good. I mean, you can't eat it. You're not going to be able to satisfy your soul, and you can't eat it. Now, he went to, he was discussing with this from, members of his church when he was still in the church at the time. And, he came back and told me, he said, yeah, people at the church are saying with those scriptures, that's why we need to buy Bitcoin. And I said, good heavens. Like, that's what they said. That's what the church believes. So they believe those two precepts is the reason why you should buy Bitcoin. He's no longer a member of that church or anyone from that congregation, or, fellowships with anyone from that congregation. But Just the madness. I mean, that's part of the strong delusion. Instead of like analyzing it and taking it for what it says, you're using it as an excuse to satisfy your own lust. So again, love of love of everything that lives. Please, be wise. Again, the spirit is way more important than the physical. I mean, you do what you can in the natural, and the Lord will add to it. I've talked about that many times. He'll add to it as he sees fit. So, just be wise with that. And I don't have anything else. Mike, do you have anything you want to add? And then we can answer a few questions.
Yeah, I just had a quick precept just on
Sure.
preparedness.
Sure.
All right, so it's Luke 21, verse 34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and the cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unawares. So, just stay aware, basically.
Con. And one last thing I wanted to add about, we talk about food and, supplies and things like that. I mean, as of now, the prices aren't bad. So, they're not too bad. I mean, again, it depends what you're buying. So, of course, if everything adds up, yeah, it's going to be pretty expensive. I've noticed some differences at the grocery store the past couple of weeks or months, and so you know, but yeah, man, just I can't emphasize it enough because um, the way I mean, you people, the people, the Bible talks about how our oppressors will eat their own children and drink their blood for hunger and thirst. That's bad, man. That's bad. When it gets to cannibalism, that's bad. I mean, it's bad enough in Venezuela. Some people were forced to eat zoo animals, but when you get to cannibalism, I mean, yeah, that's bad. So, um, with that, we have a question. Come up, bring up brother CD. I'm trying to invite you up. It's not. There you go. For some reason, not letting you up. Try putting down your hand and then bring it. Do it again. Or let me. Okay. Yes. Wow. It's not. Can someone else try bringing up CD because it's not letting me bring them up. Okay. Yeah, something's wrong. Try exiting and coming back in. And but if there's any other questions at this time, any Bible precepts, words of any advice, things you've learned. Okay.
Hey, so yeah, just on to your point, let me bring out just a precept as you related to what you was referring to, Salakia. Bear with me. I just had it up. Salakia. This is uh Salakia. Con. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and 21, and it reads, "And they shall pass through it hardly bestead and hungry, and it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God, and look upward, and they shall look unto the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven into darkness." So it's going to get to that time where people that they didn't believe in Yahweh, but you know they're gonna look upward, and they're gonna be starving, and what I'm saying, they're gonna fret themselves, and they're gonna curse the heavens, You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be so hungry. They're gonna be, and it's gonna get to that point, like you said, them eating their sons. It speaks about that in I believe it's in the Salakia. I believe it's in the Book of Kings. You know, where and I may be mistaken. Just paraphrasing where the the sister the two women, one agreed to eat their child one night, and then the other woman reneged on it, so they ate the son, and then when it was time to eat the other woman's son, the woman, she changed her mind. It's gonna get to those times where people are gonna be eating their loved ones. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting to those desperate times, man. It's gonna hit the earth. It's gonna hit the earth hard. Brother Feed, you got something? Okay.
Shalom. That was Second Kings 6 and starting at 24. You was talking about,
Con.
but yeah, yeah. Now I just wanted to share something that I got off this app. A brother had suggested was stocking up on like beans and rice. So I kind of started doing that. And also it was another point I had. It probably come back to me, but yeah, I just wanted to share that because a lot of times you're like, damn, other than canned foods, you know, we don't normally. I'll speak for myself. I didn't have an idea of other than canned foods what else to stock up on. So that beans and rice, that kind of gave me some other options. And every time I come in here, I hop right on Amazon and start ordering, start trying to stock up on some other stuff too. But that's all I had though. I'm a yield.
Yeah, Con King, like what the brother was saying, like just in your area, they got a lot of different food banks, and they have a lot of different things, like canned fruit. It's a lot of different things that like you said, beans is very good, rice is very good. You be surprised some of the things you go there you wouldn't even think about it. But even if you, like I said, if you can't use it, you may know some other Israelites that may be in need of those things come that time, and you never know. Some of these things you can put aside just to even barter with in that time of Jacob's trouble, as we talked about. But it's no shame in the game to just look at some of these things, because when we talked about it before, a lot of people are, our people is prideful. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be seen in these things, but they'll be seen standing on the line for Jordans and shit like that. Salakia. But, you know, I looked into it and just seen, and I talked to a sister that works for the USDA, and she said that a lot of these things go to waste, and it just our people would never show up because they're so prideful. She said that even if you don't want it, come down there and give it to someone, because most of the time it just gets thrown away. A lot of these things where you see in a lot of places the lines be miles, but in some of these places people never show up. It's actually one that I'm supposed to go to tomorrow, and I might not be able to make it for, several weeks because I've just been so busy. But when I do, just to go by there, I go for, people in my neighborhood, people that I'm familiar with, elderly, people that's not able to get out. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, it's very um wise to just check it out, what's in your area, and you be surprised. And you might, hey, the Most High believe in alms. you know just at least giving it to our people that's in need. You don't want to give it to nobody that's doing wickedness or anything like that, but our people that's in need, if you can help out, you know even if you can't use it, it's wise.
Hey, Salakia King, real quick. Can y'all hear me clear? Cause I'm driving.
Con.
Okay, con. So I'm not sure if anybody familiar with the Wisconsin or Milwaukee area, but I actually stay in Milwaukee now, and it's a food bank. Well, I guess you can call it a food bank, but it's a lady that I connected with up here. She actually put together something in her house called in the back of her house. It's called Food is Free. And what that is like a free food pantry where 24 hours out the day You know, it's a they got like freezers full, they got garages full. You feel me? They just be having plenty food, bro. All type of healthy food, vegan food, non-vegan food, canned goods, water. People stop in, you know, cafeteria workers that work at schools, they drop off lunches, and it's just a beautiful thing, y'all. And I'm actually, I'm glad I hopped on here because you know I actually, me myself, I've been stocking up for like a year and a half now, on water, canned goods, you know, and I've been trying, and this way before I came to the truth, you know, just trying to put people on, and you know, we so stiff-necked and stupid. All our people, well, the news ain't said, the news said I need tissue, so we not gonna run out of food, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, listen, y'all, it's finna be a fake food shortage coming very, very soon. So what these brothers saying, like, we should really take heed, y'all. And like I say, anybody in the Wisconsin area, Milwaukee area, anywhere up here close, food is free, is up here. You can get up with me, I'll lead you to them. They take donations, and the cool thing about them, they let you go through their fridges and stuff, and you pick your foods yourself. So it ain't no bags full. You can go take as much as you want. It's for the community. It's free. And also, back on that stocking up tip. When y'all stock up, make sure y'all stocking up on when it comes to the water. Make sure y'all getting natural spring or alkaline water. Not none of that purified stuff, or stay away from that, y'all. Because the natural spring and the alkaline, you know, that's the best for our bodies. That's pure water. It's no additives to it, none of that. And as far as canned goods, you know, beans, vegetables, fruit, chickpeas, you know, rice and Vienna sausages, like preferably stuff where you can just, you know, pop open and eat it, like on the go, like Vienna sausages and stuff like that. But just canned goods all together. You feel me? Just get as much as y'all can, even before I came into the truth. And that's about it, y'all. I just wanted to educate a little bit. And one more thing, it's so crazy how we is as a nation, y'all. I try to put so many of our people on to this food is free spot. I'm like, man, bro, they be giving away food, y'all. They be giving away. They order certain days out the week. They order 100 boxes of pizza. Well, people donate. They order from Domino's or something, and they just say, hey, come down. We got 100 boxes of pizza. Literally, come get it. Man, our people so crazy, y'all. These folks will hit me with some, bro, I got money. I don't need no giveaways. I do. Bro, you finna, you that rich, you turning down free food, my nigga? Like, literally, like, I don't think people, they ain't really fully understanding the times that we really in. You feel me? So I commend y'all brothers for, you know, putting this gospel out here, because this is also a gospel. You know, the famines and all that, like, this is valuable information. A lot of us don't know. A lot of us are prideful. And we got to really get out of that. Like, ASAP. We got to, you know, get out in these communities, you know, and even on the gardening tip. We got to start gardening, get back to that. And, you know, just take heed, y'all. It's real out here. I yield the flow. Shalom.
Shalom, Khan, all praises. Now, for those, yeah, everything he said, you know, right on point, all praises. We did a like more extensive lesson on food storage. So if you go to King Ben's YouTube channel, he has a playlist for Jacob's Trouble lessons, and we did, you know, we got the one for the food storage. We got one for water storage, bug out bags, skills and that nature. So if you ever get a chance, and that's the thing. Like for this lesson, I just wanted to cover hyperinflation. Um, so for the other, you know, other aspects, in the natural dealing with Jacob's trouble, you can go to Kingpin's YouTube channel and check those out.
Salakia, and I got one more topic to touch on if I can, y'all, if y'all don't mind. So you just said the bug out bags. So what we should have in these bug out bags, y'all, you need as much get matches. We need like he say, hygiene products, matches, gloves, flashlights. Of course, if you got guns, which we all should have by now, we need ammo. I know that ain't the white man Esau. They gonna forever have more than that than us. But that's also a necessity in these times, because these police ain't gonna protect us, so we gotta protect us and our families. But matches, lighters, cigarette lighters, flashlights, gloves, canteens to put the water in, etc., etc. Like we gotta really, we kind of gotta put ourselves in a militant mind state, because we at war. Like, war is at hand. You feel me? So we can't go out here lacking, y'all. We gotta, you know what I'm saying? We gotta be on point. Cause Esau, y'all know they been stocking up for 20, 30, 40 years. They ass got tanks and bunkers, and they ready. Like, you feel me? They been on point. And a lot of us get just now catching on. So we way behind. But the beauty of that is we still got time. So we really gotta we gotta think smart, y'all. We gotta take advantage of this time, this reset that this world in. We gotta get out here and buy and bulk for real. Like, stuff we need to really, really survive when all hell break loose. I yield the floor.
Hey, yeah, Salakia, as the brother said, definitely. But we and that's a good point. We definitely, as Leo said, we touched on that. Make sure y'all go to the YouTube, because I think we got two installments where it goes into the bug out bag, and then I think bug out bags is also continued. So it's going through the whole bug out bag, food supply. Salakia is Jacob's Trouble. I think that was episode 5, security and bug out bags. Also, you got Jacob's Trouble episode 3, building your food supply, and Jacob's Trouble 6, episode 6, bug out bags, continue, and skills. So it's very detailed into just what to put in the bag, uh, you know, things that you should have, what size bug out bag, and what you can carry, you know, the, making it to where it's something that, personalize it to yourself of what you may need in it, things like that. So it goes into real detail. It's very detailed. Also, hold on, Salakia, brother, um, go ahead. You have something else, Shikari?
Yeah, Salakia. So one more thing, like, shit just keep coming to my head. One more thing, ladies, women, queen, princesses, when y'all buying guns, please do not go buy them cute ass little pink guns and blue, and don't get none of that shit. Cause if somebody run up on y'all ass, like, they not finna take y'all serious with them little Nerf guns. When y'all go get guns, you feel me? Get a grown man gun that y'all can handle. Black, silver, none of that cute shit. Like, this is war for real, for real. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, yeah. Also, we employ you before you even go get a gun. Get trained. You know what I'm saying? Don't just go get nothing
Con.
and try to handle it yourself, because as a person that took a lot of training with weapons, any situation you in, you, even if they don't have a weapon, you're bringing that weapon to that situation. So you don't want to get your gun taken from you and used on you. So learn how to use it. Learn how to practice with it. Also learn how to store it, because you don't want your gun, be rusty and you don't know how to use it. Um, brother CD was up here for a minute. You got something? Okay.
Yeah, shalom, shalom. Appreciate y'all edifying me. I just had a question about I know we gonna have to keep the laws, right, during Jacob's trouble. But let's say, right, I'm like walking and like a bomb hit or something, right? And everybody's taking everything from the stores. Is that stealing if I go take something and take it back to my crib, to store up? Like,
No,
is that against the law?
no. I mean, that's
Okay.
that's that's scavenging at that point. So, um, now, brothers, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but no, at that point, like it's scavenging. So, I mean, one question you have to ask yourself: if you're walking down the street and a bomb goes off, like you're talking about like an invasion, right? That type of bomb, like from a warplane or something like that, correct?
Con or like Esau just like start running the streets with their tanks and stuff, something like that.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, more like an invasion. I mean, if it's like an invasion and they bomb a store, like you have to ask yourself, how are you going to pay for whatever it is you're going to purchase? You can't. Like everything's gonna be shut off by that point. So the first thing, this is why preparedness is important because if I was in that situation, I'm going straight home. I'm not going to the store. Um, you need to hide yourself when you see the evil. So this is one of many reasons why you would prepare now to even avoid that situation. But in terms of all hell breaking loose and you had to leave your house and at that point you're scavenging, you know, now again we're talking about food and water, things that you need, not TVs and Jordans. Yeah, at that point, then yeah, you're that does you no good. You're buying junk. You're looting, but scavenging, and there's a difference. Like during Hurricane Katrina, white people were scavenging and black people were looting. And if you look at what was in people's hands, it was the same items, but that's how they paint the narrative. So um, be proactive. So if that does happen, you go straight home because um, you were the ant and you stored. So, but no, I wouldn't think so. Not in that situation, because there would be a lot of scavenging quotations going on during that time.
She lucky. I also had one more. So I know we aren't supposed to like hurt our brother or anything or our sister, but when it
Mhm.
comes to that time, right? And let's say somebody's trying to hurt you or even trying to steal something that you got, would that go against the law to like to protect yourself or even to protect your items? I guess.
Let me. I got a precept for that. Um, this is Book of Matthew, chapter 12, and start at verse 46. So you said your brother, right? If your brother's trying to kill you or rob you, you know,
Come on.
this is a Book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 46. While he yet while he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. And he answered and said unto him, who is my mother, and who is my brethren? And he stretched forth his hands towards his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother, my sister, and my mother. So if someone's coming to kill you and rob from you, that's not your brother.
I understand now. If they're not keeping the commandments, I
Right.
understand. Appreciate that. Appreciate
Because I
that.
wouldn't I wouldn't do that to you.
And Khan, and also like as you spoke about before, the Most High is going to allow us when we leave this place to spoil other nations. So just on the level of you taking things like that, you want to be wise. I'm not telling you to go out and steal or anything, but how much more would He want you to, would He mind for you trying to feed your family versus, you know out looting. Like if you out there looting a TV or something like that, I don't think that's something that he would want you to be doing at that time. But you're trying to literally feed your family, feed your household. You understand? So I don't think that you trying to feed your household is in like relation to you out there trying to steal a flat screen TV in the middle of a damn riot, or close to a damn blackout or something like that. That's not wise, and it's not something the Most High is going to be looking after you for. But if you are trying to literally feed your household, you are trying to get food, and it's things going on. You're trying to survive. So that's something to you of course use wisdom, but you're trying to feed your family. So how he's going to be I don't think that he's going to be against you with that.
Con, all praises, all praises. Appreciate y'all. Water.
Debar.
Khan Ayandabar.
Nija.
Naja, yeah, Naja.
Shalom, Najia. But
Najia.
Salah.
Salakia. Welcome.
I just wanted to piggyback off of you all and say get vitamins and medicines, like sisters, if you get cramps or things like that, get some Tylenol, and get like some essential oils, like tea tree, peppermint, things like that as well when storing up, because I know those things are like expensive, but I feel like that's a necessity, just like food. So I just wanted to say that.
Khan.
All praises. So are there any more questions or comments, Bible verses you want to bring out? Okay, I don't have anything else. King Ben, Mike, you guys have anything else?
Uh-uh.
All right. Yeah. So if you haven't become a member already, click on our one of our profiles, and you'll see the sister clubs that we're under. I forgot to make this under the Thy Kingdom Come. So Thy Kingdom Come, we have morning news. We have that daily that covers the news and current events concerning our people. We're working on a few other classes and workshops in addition to Jacob's Trouble. So, follow the moderators. And once you become a member of those clubs, you can nominate others to become a member. So I don't have anything else. It was a great lesson. I thank you all. We thank you all for coming out. All praises to the Father, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, to the 12 tribes. If you don't have anything else, King Ben, you have something else?
We'll be back tomorrow with the mid-morning brew at 10 a.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. 9:30. We doing 9:30, right, this week?
Yeah, we have to do 9:30.
We'll be 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 Central tomorrow morning. So we back there. Make sure you follow the brothers on stage, follow the moderators, and become a member. Click on my profile. Salakia, become a member of Dakina Come. We also it should be up on a schedule soon. We have a courting class that's coming up this weekend. We have it tentatively for Sunday evening after I believe it's after Moral of the Story. But look for it on the schedule. It should be on a schedule. This will be a courting class done by some really good teachers in Israel. So stay tuned for that. We also are putting together a lot of other things under the banner for Thy Kingdom Come. So click on my profile and go down and become a member, nominate someone. We thank y'all for coming out to today's lesson. And we'll say shalom. Y'all have a good evening.
Shalom.